Welcome to the NdB Sunday Show with me, Steyn. Today, I speak to the only police officer ever to be awarded the Silver Star for bravery twice. Colonel Tollie Vreugdenburg, formerly of the Hawks, where he worked on crimes against the state and commanded anti-terrorism investigations. Welcome, Colonel.
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I don't have to tell you that political interference and corruption have been trending topics in this country for a couple of months now. What is your take on the testimony given by the KZN, Provincial Police Commissioner, and two other generals at the Mademola Commission and the ad hoc committee in Parliament?
Because I just want to wind back a bit. Corruption and political interference is not a new thing in South Africa. That is coming from the old apartheid government, when in the Israel shows us that the illegitimate state was kept in place by political interference and the weaponization of the police force of that time. You could just look at the TRC reports and all the TRC applications where everybody said I was given instructions by political figures, and none of them stood up and took responsibility for that. So that just went over from the South African police force over to the South African police service. Hence, we're having the state that we're having now. It is just not as they don't hide it as good in the previous days. So yes, now the current situation in Parliament as well as the Commission states a very bad state of sorry, let me just the current Commission and the testimony in front of Parliament brings forward a picture of a very, very bad police service in South Africa. And with this, it has impacted policing very much. You have impacted the outcome of policing investigations very much, and also resulted in the police being seen as a failure in South Africa.
How do you rate the evidence led thus far?
I know both the generals well. I've worked my 43 years career in the police past with them during my career, especially with General Masemola when he was the head of the NAT joints, where I had a seat also during major events in South Africa, and General Mkhwanazi, that was a part of the task force and special task force, and during my investigation of terrorist cases, I always used the South African police, a special task force, to assist me in arresting terrorists, because me as a normal detective, I'm not equipped and trained to do that. So both of them are persons of high integrity, and what they say and what they said in the Commission as well as in front of Parliament is not new to me. I've experienced it myself during my career, especially the latter parts of my career. And I take my hat off for them to come forward and come to open. They are the only two currently that have enough courage to do that.
Now, Colonel, now that you are retired, you can share some of the incidents of political interference in your investigations with us.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, in the way back in 2015, during the African Union, you remember the well-known al-Bashir, President of Sudan, that was part of the event, invited to South Africa to attend the African Union summit here. Whilst there was a warrant by International Criminal Court for him for human rights abuses in Sudan, as part of my role and my mandate in the crimes against the state, and especially the counter-terrorism section, was to investigate and arrest it, because we are signatories to the Rome Statute that forces me, and as a crimes against the state investigator, to execute any ICC, the International Criminal Court, warrants of arrest. And during the AU, it was brought onto the table, and after many meetings, there was an instruction on a specific day that, yes, President al-Bashir will be arrested by a member of Interpol, as well as myself. And in the night joint, there was an instruction given that he must not be allowed to leave the country. That meeting stopped about 10 o'clock that night. The plan was to do it, to make a proper operational plan and execute it during the next morning. 3 o'clock that night, I was phoned by one of my colleagues and said, al-Bashir just left on the plane. I said, what? No, he was just left on the plane. So, irrespective of the decision not to arrest him, irrespective of the court case, the court case that was in Pretoria, North Gauteng High Court that said South Africa must arrest him. The political figures in South Africa, working with the senior South African Police Service members, management, allowed him to fly out of the country. There was a case docket opened during that time of contempt of court. It was opened by one of the DA members of parliament, and that case docket disappeared from 2015 until 2019. Then suddenly the case docket landed on my table again, with nothing being done on it. It was laying on another general's table for the whole time. Nothing was done to it. We started an investigation, and we were working on the investigation and following the leads, everything up to a level where we have gone through everybody from the person that was instructed to guard the plane on Waterkloof Airport to the person that worked at customs in Waterkloof Airport. Everybody up to a certain level when we start touching the politicians again. And we started requesting the cell phone information for the politicians again and the senior management of the police at that time. And then they shut us down again. That is it. So that is one that is frustrating. For me as a seasoned police officer and a seasoned detective, I just want to do his job. You understand? I don't want to keep any political party in power. I don't want to keep any regime in power. I just want to do the job that I was given. And I took an oath in 1980 to protect and serve the country. This is political interference. The second one I can give you.
Please.
Sorry. The second one I can give you is my personal experience is the hostile takeover of the DPCI by Zuma's crony, burning in Ntlemeza, where General Dramat was pushed out of the way with false accusations, and burning at Ntlemeza was appointed in his place. And it took various NGOs years, I think 2 years, to get rid of him, to prove to the court that it was an illegal appointment. But while he was there, the whole of the DPCI was captured. Appointments was made in senior posts. Senior post was created that never existed. The DPCI is like the certain other state organizations in South Africa. The DPCI is one of the organizations in South Africa, state organizations, parasols that have the most senior management, brigadiers, generals, etc. And the foot soldiers on the bottom is less than them. So yes, there was nepotism, persons appointed from places that has no experience into posts, that have no experience in that post. After he was removed, when General Lebeya was appointed, he tried to rectify it, but he was just as frustrated as all the rest of us old boys in the DPCI. He managed to get rid of some of those people. Others were brought back into the police. There was similar happened with the persons that was then suspended from the police during the same time that General Dramat was suspended. So the DPCI as it now stands is, and I will be interested for me to see who's going to be appointed the new head of the DPCI, the Hawks. Is it going to be a career policeman or is it going to be a political appointment? Then we will see if the Hawks are still going to be captured. And then also in the well-known Pravin Gordhan case that everybody's talking about, it was a drawn-out case. If you look at that case, and you study that case, there was books written about it by Jacob Zuma, etc. It was a pure political motivated investigation. When the person that is on top favors late Pravin Gordhan, he's appointed as minister. Then a week later, there's a new person on top. Then the late Pravin Gordhan was fired again. You can imagine that. So just a few. I'm not going to talk about the terrorism investigations that I did. For me, luckily, there's very few persons in the top management that understand terrorism like I understand it, and my members on the ground understand it. And then there's also, most importantly, there's international structures that controls the combating and investigation of terrorism, like the United Nations Financial Action Task Force. And we have been greylisted by them a few years ago. And South Africa is going to be reevaluated in a few months. And the possibility of being taken off the grey list is very good. The result of that will be a financial benefits to all South Africans. Investments will come back to South Africa. Certain sanctions will be lifted, etc. But one of in the Financial Action Task Force evaluation, there's 11 immediate outcomes that have to be adhered to, of which corruption and money laundering is the two of the most important ones. And what is now in the public, I'm afraid that is going to have an impact on our evaluation. That is my personal opinion. There's also media reports of that possibility. So let's just hope that the United Nations don't keep us on the grey list after this.
How effective do you think this commission and the committee will be able to do their work, considering huge efforts to cover up for those implicated and big discreditation operations being run against the whistleblowers?
Any commission, any investigation is as good as what is done with the information after the hearing, after the commission. I think I'm talking about previous commissions, very well-known commissions. We haven't seen the results. Was there any prosecution? Was there anything done? Will there be anything done with all the information that has been provided now? Will it be turned into evidence and used to arrest and prosecute the perpetrators? That is only when a commission is successful. Any testimony, any parliamentary hearing can only be successful if there's a result coming from that. Not just a recommendation, but a physical result by ending up with persons being arrested and ending up in prison serving time for them, what they have done.
Let's go to General Mkhwanazi. His life must be in grave danger.
That is so. But knowing him personally well, the guy that wants to take him out, good luck to you. That is a highly trained combatant. I hope that General Masemola and the rest of the management also see it, and they take steps to protect him. But he is himself as a person is very capable of protecting himself.
Now, Colonel, there's this dark triad of cartel bosses, corrupt cops, captured politicians. Can it ever be broken?
It's difficult. As I said, it's not a new phenomenon. The only thing what changed now is they are not keeping a political party in power. They're keeping the cartels in power now. And they're hijacking the police for their own pocket benefit, not for political gain. That is what the situation is. Will it ever be broken? It's difficult because the roots are so deep into the political parties, not only the governing party, but the other parties also. The root is so deep into state parasitals, all the different state entities that is involved. I'm not talking about the police only. There's others that is very important to the security of South Africa, but there's also just as corrupt and there's just as corrupt managers in their system that have to be addressed.
Are you saying that sections of our intelligence services are captured too?
Yes. Well, you can just look at the crime intelligence and all the allegations made by both generals against crime intelligence of how the slush fund, we call it the slush fund, the secret fund has been misused. And has been misused all the years. For many, many years has been misused to line the pockets of certain people. The oversight on those secret accounts is applicable to the State Security Agency that also has similar secret funds, as well as the Defense Intelligence has similar secret funds that has to be checked by oversight committees. That is not done. I investigated in 2015. I invested a case at State Security at Masanda, one of the most secure premises in South Africa, where a group of thieves walked into Masanda the night after Christmas, into the foreign branch's safe and walked away with cash, allegedly 50 million rands of cash that they walked away with. I investigated the case and eventually I arrested one of the deputy DGs of State Security bodyguard, and that is it. Eventually, the first figure that they gave me was 50 million. After I asked for a breakdown in the financial books, it went down to 17 million. So somewhere in between. Because see, there's things been done behind the scene that they wanted to justify or they wanted to rectify by criminal cases. But once we poke into it, you walk into you find out the truth, and then you walk into a political wall that you cannot breach.
What did you make of that raid on the home of suspended Deputy Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya?
It will be interesting to see what they took there, and what was the purpose of the raid. Usually, when you do a raid like that, you're looking for evidence, because you do a raid of that with court authorized warrants of search and seizure warrants, and if they were directed in doing that and they have found what they wanted, maybe there's a case. I cannot speculate what was going on because every case is but if the value of what they recovered there and seized there is of such a nature that they will be able to compile a criminal case, then it is really good.
And then there was the asset forfeited unit carting away luxury vehicles from the home of President Cyril Ramaphosa's nephew by marriage.
Yes, I saw that. I would love to see what's going to happen with that Lamborghini they carted away there and all those luxury items. That is a different kind of way to deal with persons that's under suspicion by taking the money away, taking away the assets, taking away the means to commit crime. That was just as shocking to see that on the morning news. Two major operations simultaneously going on.
Meanwhile, the African National Congress seems desperate to distance itself from certain people implicated, specifically Brian Mogotsi.
Yeah, that is so. That is too late now. Unfortunately, history tells its own story, and by association, they cannot distance themselves from them or try to break ties. They can break ties with him now, but it's too late. It's much too late. There will be a big footprint leading back for many years between the party as well as the individual.
Now, General, Colonel, I promoted you there.
Thank you.
I think you deserve that promotion. Colonel, let's talk about your book, The High Treason Club. Tell us the story behind the book.
The High Treason Club is the story of the Boeremag. The Boeremag is a right-wing organization established in 2000 that tried to overthrow the South African government, the ANC government, by means of armed conflict and initiate a racial war in South Africa. This whole book, I was investigating officer in that case. The case itself was one of the most expensive cases and longest lasting cases in South African legal history. It took us 10 years to finalize the trial, with all 23 accused being convicted and sentenced on high treason. What they tried to do, the right-wing extremist group, the Boeremag, is they tried to create a racial war, firstly by killing Nelson Mandela while he was on the way to open a school in Lebeya. Luckily, the plan didn't work out because there's a certain, if you read the book, there's a certain reason why the person, not elected by the grace of God, it didn't work out because he was not driving that day to the school, but flying to the school. Then they exploded the Soweto bombs in the late 2002, where they killed Claudia Mkhwanazi. Also, there was a bomb exploded at the Grand Central Airport at the police, as well as police aiming, as well as the Interwooma Bridge in the Eastern Cape. But they were led by the visions of Sina van Rensburg. That is a person in South Africa that's the same as Nostradamus nationally. That the right-wing extremists follow his visions and the predictions to the later. And then the radicalization part of it is the religion that they belong to is the Israel Vision religion, that believe they are followers of descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel and the chosen people. That's all to be read in the book. Karen Mitchell, the author, and myself tried to write a objective as possible book, just to bring this very important stage of South Africa, so political history, bring it and put it on the shelves. The results, if the Boeremag was successful, and I always say, if they were successful in murdering Nelson Mandela, if a white person, we can be honest and racist, if a white person killed Nelson Mandela, a racial war would have started in South Africa. And if you look at Gaza today, that is how South Africa would have looked like. And we can be honest with each other. There's nothing else, no more, no less. Luckily, it didn't happen, and we're still having our houses, although we're struggling now with corruption and political interference, but the country is still alive.
Tell us about those silver crosses you were awarded in each case.
The silver cross, the first silver cross was for the Boeremag case. With my under my leadership, we followed the last attack on the third. It was supposed to happen on the 13th of December 2002, where 4 large car bombs consisting of 400 kilograms was supposed to be exploded in Gauteng. One of them was at the Breer Street taxi rank. Remember, recently there was the gas line exploding there with major damage. Well, just imagine a 400 kilogram explosive device on top of that gas line, what kind of damage that will be. So all those targets, those 4 targets, were at similar places. We established that we'd have at least 3,000 casualties at each one of those targets. That would have been South Africa's 9/11 times 4. The other one was bestowed on my team when in 2012 we prevented the attack on the ANC elective conference in Mangaung 6 hours before it was supposed to commence. There was also a right-wing grouping that was planning to mortar bomb the ANC elective conference at 12 o'clock when the president and all the big 6 leaders were in the conference tent. and they wanted to have a standoff bombardment, mortar bombardment on the tent and kill all of the leaders. Also then kill the persons attending there was about 20,000 people in that stadium, in that university on that day. 6 hours in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning of the 16th of December 2012, in a operation that they planned across the whole country. We arrested all the leaders of the group and we mitigated and prevented the attack. I don't think I deserve it personally. For me, it's always the team, and I'm just a leader of the team.
Any last words for our viewers after over 40 years of seeing the things most of us will never learn about?
2 things. You will learn about it because I'm writing the next book, Footpath of a Detective, where all my experiences that I can write about will be expressed. But for the listeners, I just want to plead to them. The police service as it is not bad. It's only a very small percentage of the police service that is corrupt. There is thousands of policemen out there that is committed to their work, working hard with the little resources that they have, with the little support from management that they have. There's always complaints that the prison systems are overflowing. But those persons didn't walk to the prison door and handed themselves over. They were arrested by a policeman, investigated by a policeman, trialed by a court, and sentenced by a court, hence been placed into prison. So that is just the end result of committed and dedicated policemen. They are there. Please do not judge all the police and say that the police is corrupt. No, the police is not corrupt. It's just a small part of the police that is corrupt.
Thank you very, very much. That was retired Colonel Tollie Vreugdenburg speaking to BizNews. I'm Christine.
Thank you.